Good morning, welcome to OG Foundation, capital of the sovereign state of Lodium. I'm your host, Sovereign of Lodium. This is episode 3 of season 13. Let me turn this around real quick. So here's the state of the 36-foot arch. I've only got one round of concrete on the bottom. I'm going to be working that up this week. And then I've gotten 4 additional batches or kind of rounds of concrete adding to this column, which is now like 12 feet tall or something, onto the original base, which like ended right there. And now it's getting to the point where it's splitting to the two arches, and it kind of like narrows from this direction before it splits to the two arches. So I'll be working on that and bringing the concrete solid part up to meet the ferrocement part up top, and getting this one all figured out so that this will be a kind of support for over here. And I got to start on this structure here, which will also be kind of a lateral, like this way to that way, support for this whole structure, because this is all anchored down to bedrock over here. So last week I just got to start on putting this lath up and starting to get it connected with the bedrock over here where it's white. I had poured some like lime wash type water onto the rock in some of the areas where there's maybe a little bit of dirt, and just kind of generally in the transition, thinking that that's going to help long term as sort of a transition between the bedrock and the cement on top, because the lime wash does kind of a long-term carbonation process. And generally I've been adding a little bit of lime into this mortar, which I don't usually do, but the lime gives it a little more flexibility, and I'm just doing a little bit. I'm just starting to kind of experiment mixing in the lime with the cement powder, making more of a kind of traditional mortar, which isn't necessary, but the flexibility can be beneficial in a structure where it's ferrocement and it's meant to be a little bit flexible because of all the metal. So that's where everything stands now. I'll be adding more rebar for support for these structures, and then setting the walls up, and then I'm experimenting with different materials as well. Like over here we've got some basically like window screen, and I'm going to see if I can use that as a lath replacement, because it's cheaper and it won't rust, but it's maybe a little more difficult to affix and get taught to be able to apply the mortar. So that'll be another kind of experiment. And all the rebar reinforcements are all like tensile strength. Well, I don't know if I can really get into explaining that, but that's where everything is to start the week. And my very first task is to get the Molly Stark Tower final finishes and cleaning, because that's going to get moved into in the next couple days. But I don't really have anything to show in there other than after I get it cleaned up, I'll give you like a once through of the finished Molly Stark Tower, and that'll be the next cut. It is Sunday evening. There's enough time for one more batch of mortar. Yesterday I did the first batch and got kind of like a loose covering on all of the lath, and then today I've gotten one batch done and got a second coat on either side of that, so that basically the initial coat, which creates a good surface over the lath, then gets sandwiched between two new coats, and once that dries, that'll be pretty solid. This backing over here, you can see what it looks like when it only has, or without the second coat. It's a little difficult to get to back there, and then that's the same thing over here. So I'll have to do one more batch. I'll see if I can get some backing on that stuff and this stuff, and then if it's thick enough, I'll get a first coat on this, and potentially over here as well. So working on the second batch of mortar for the day. It goes pretty slow like this, but super satisfying to get all this rocked into place. So with one more batch, there's more coverage over here. There's backing on all of that and all of that, and already the cattle panels here are pretty in there. They don't have much play at all. So a good bit of progress for today. Okay, so the The buffs are the more?
The buffs are kind of a uniform cream color,
Yeah.
yellow. The golden comets are about the same color, but they tend to have the stripes on the backs.
Okay.
The Americanas are all kind of brownish colored with stripes on their backs.
Yep.
The Rhode Island Reds are kind of a solid reddish brown. And did I get the bedrocks yet? They're black with a white on the head.
Okay, cool.
I think that was it.
Yep, that was 5. It's Thursday and it's chick day. There's 15 of them and 3 of 5 different kinds. It's all situated in here with the heater, and it's been kind of rainy, so not a lot of progress on the projects, but other good developments going on. The chickies are all landed and doing pretty good. So end of the day, Friday, and didn't really get a whole lot more done on the structures, but I've been busy with other stuff this week. And basically, well, the Molly Stark Tower is now fully occupied, which is a great success after a year and a half of work, or maybe a year, I don't know, all last season and a little bit of this season. And then over here, these walls have got to start just about all the way around, and I'm kind of have a bunch of different ferrocement surfaces to work on going forward, and hopefully this next week we'll have good weather and fortunate tidings for lots of ferrocement. But that is all for this week. Thanks for tuning in.